there are very few people around here that share similar values to us. And I feel like that is also another issue that we need to discuss, because the people in our culture that seem to care about the ecology or the broader implications of our situation as human beings tend to silo themselves in urban areas for the most part. And then there's a few of them that get back into the country to try to start growing some food, get back onto the resilience spectrum like you are. And they find themselves like, okay, now I can do this, physical stuff in the country, but I'm surrounded by people that may or may not have similar values. And it is a lonely existence at times.
Is it really a difference in values, or is it possibly more a different in education and perspective that the money technology narrative has suppressed their deeply held values? And if they saw what you saw, or listened to 100 of my podcasts over a couple of years, that the values start to reemerge once the energy blinders have been removed. I'm just asking. I don't know.
And that's a good question as well. And I want to know that. I feel like every time we have a workshop, and we have workshops throughout the summer months about, like, there's one coming up this weekend, wild foraging and plant medicine. And I would say 98% of people that come to those workshops are from the city, which is an hour and a half away in Minneapolis. Very few people locally come here. Why? I have no idea. It just seems like most people that are local just aren't interested in any of these things that we're offering. Whereas people in the city that are living in the suburbs, they are. They're hungry for this. They're hungry for some kind of authenticity. But at the same time, when we find those people and we talk to them, a lot of them have become good friends, and they come back to the farm over and over and over. We like, how can we help you get out? Because they always tell us that they want to get out of that system, and we're like, we're here for you, we will help you in any way we can. But they've got every excuse in the book as to why that's just not right for them to do it just yet. And I think a lot of it is they don't want to be away from all of the people that they know in the city.
Within a decade, you are going to be incredibly busy, popular, and in demand because people that have your skill sets are fewer than they should be. And so a lot of people will choose to live closer on the spectrum to what you're doing when they're forced to. And one of the
That's
reasons
right.
that I'm doing this podcast is we can get more pilots and scout teams of community. Not necessarily, I mean, this is not a Luddite a philosophy. I espouse appropriate technology, and I don't know what the future is going to be, but I think we need more people, like you say, that are sovereign individuals. And being a sovereign individual in a world where we have all the knowledge of human history at our fingertips and we can order anything delivered to our house overnight, it takes a lot of mental fortitude to buck the trend on those conveniences.
It is. And sometimes, like just yesterday, I was having a hard day because I feel like I was planting oak trees out in the pasture, and there was a father daughter from Australia actually stopped by, and the daughter was really interested in regenerative farming, so they drove past hoping that we'd be home, and they saw me out there, so they came up, and they ended up spending 3 hours here talking to us. They had lunch here. Great people. um but yeah, it like, every young person I meet, for the most part, even if they come here for an internship for 3 months during the growing season, and they're talking about this stuff for 3 months straight, they're a captive audience. I can sit here and talk about all of the things that you and I talk about for 3 months, and they're like nodding their head in agreement, and they totally understand, they totally get it. But when the 3 months is over, they go right back to the city because that's where everybody is.
If five of their friends went through the same thing, that's a different story, I would expect, because then they have
That's right.
solidarity and a shared experience.
Absolutely. And I tell this to people when I've helped teach permaculture courses around the world, and every time I've ever taught a permaculture course where it's 2 weeks, 10 days, whatever, the majority of people are coming are people from the suburbs, and they're quietly unhappy with their lives, and they come to this 10-day workshop, and they have their paradigms exploded, and they open up their eyes completely as to what our situation is, what needs to be done. And at that last day, they're all gathered together, wide-eyed and excited to go back to their lives and change everything. And they all do. They all go back to their lives with that same enthusiasm. But what happens is that everyone in their life that didn't go to that workshop is their parents, their coworkers, their family, their friends. They're like, they listen to them tell the story about this workshop experience and how everything's got to change, and they're like, yeah, that's nice and all, but just get back to work, get back to what you've been doing. And unless you've got the courage to radically change your life, which I believe is radically changing your environment, and a lot of times you just have to temporarily just leave everybody that's poo-pooing your new reality and go towards people that are actually doing it and hang out with them. I learned that early on in life, that if you want to do something in this world and you don't know how, find people already doing it and hang out with them, and you will end up doing it. And it's the same goes for a different reality. If you want to change your reality completely, you need to find different people and hang out with them.
So, for people that are interested in transitioning to a new reality or a different way of life, somewhere higher up on the resiliency spectrum, is this expensive or out of reach for most people? And what's your advice to people that can't go whole hog, so to speak, but who want to change the way they live to be more in tandem with their values and get started?
So, because it is a spectrum, like we talked about, any point of intervention that's the easiest, lowest hanging fruit for you to get started is the best place to start. So, whether that's getting, some pots on your patio because you're just renting an apartment, and start growing something to actually feel the superhuman power of planting a seed and watching something come up and eating it, that's a good place to start. Not buying things that you don't need so you have more time and more energy. When you have more time and energy and you're not living paycheck to pay off all the debt for all of the things that you bought to impress people that you don't like, it just, this getting off the cycle. The moment you have a bit more time, you can actually start reading more books on how do I do these things, or finding people in your community that are already doing certain things that you want to skill up on, and just going to them and saying, "Hey, I just want to shadow you." I mean, heck, that's how I learned the majority of things that I've got in my head right now, is that I identified skills that I wanted. I found people in my travels that were already mastered at those skills. And I just said, I want to help you. And yeah, I had the privilege of not having a whole bunch of bills and debt to pay off. And that was a gigantic privilege. I get that. But if you are in that position, and a lot of people are, find somebody that's doing the things that you want to learn and just say, I want to help. And you're going to learn a lot of stuff.